Yeah, I'm getting stronger.
So I'm excited to be able to partner with you. For real. I love this. I love this.
So we can get stronger.
Become aware of your thoughts. To be a fit individual, you have to become aware of what you're thinking on a daily basis.
It's so weird. It sounds
Right.
weird.
It sounds crazy, but
Makes me really happy to hear that. Keep strengthening.
Hi guys, it's Danai Mararie here, relationship coach, and I am taking over StrongHome today. And my guests are going to be your regular hosts, Melissa and Jeff. And today we are going to be talking from the subject of deflection. So I have a feeling things are going to get a little bit heated because I'm putting them in the hot seat for your viewers' enjoyment. How about that? All right, so I love you guys' energy already.
Do you?
I do.
I don't know.
I'm like, I love your
one.
energy already. So, okay, let's start with, have you guys had a conversation where deflection has been sort of an issue for you guys recently?
Have we had one?
Oh, so there have been more than one?
There's been many. That is literally like it's like the conflict to the conflict, if that makes sense. We'll conflict about something and we'll be talking about it, and then deflection pops up and it makes the conflict even more intense. Mm-hmm. So yes, deflection is, Jeff likes to say it's a new term that just popped up. And maybe the term might be new, maybe potentially to him. Like, I think maybe people didn't mention that word to him before as a word, but I think that the habit in general is very common and very difficult to handle on both ends. Like, he hates when I do it. I hate when he does it.
Does she do it as well?
He doesn't let me say hate. Sorry. Dislikes highly.
That's interesting.
She does it. Yes, obviously she does do it. She doesn't recognize when she does it. And because I don't bring it to her attention as much as she brings it to my attention, it makes her seem like she doesn't do it.
Got it. Okay.
But that's half the problem.
Yeah.
So right there, the fact that if he does notice it, bring it to my attention when it happens, not when I bring it to your attention that you're doing it. And that's ultimately, in my opinion, what deflection is. When I bring up something to him about something that I would like to discuss that is bothering me or frustrating, whatever that is, and I mention it to him, and he'll be like, you do that all the time. And I'm like, we're not talking about what I do. Right. I'm talking about you. You can talk about this a little bit later when I'm finished. Yeah. And that's something that you've even taught us when we've talked, is to be able to make an appointment. Right? So it's like, this is my time. This is my appointment that I made, that we're talking right now about this topic. And so if you feel the same way towards me, you make your appointment. When you notice it, you come talk to me. But please don't use my time, because then what I'm trying to get accomplished is not going to be addressed. It's dismissed. Does that make sense?
With that. It makes perfect sense.
I don't think it's dismissed.
Well, it's not even like,
it's not dismissed though.
What is it? It's not like attended to.
Part of the I'm gonna justify it right now.
Okay.
At least he knows that's what it is.
And then I'm gonna define it after you're done justifying it.
An explanation.
Okay.
Right. So because I think me and a lot of guys don't like to complain, don't like to be seen as crying or soft, I let stuff go that I probably shouldn't let go until there's really
an issue. Yes.
Really an issue. And so that has come back to bite me. And a lot of times when a guy like me is trying to build your woman up, you don't want to always be
at her throat.
At her throat. And so this has been a challenge because of the type of guys that she dealt with before.
Yeah.
That didn't love on her, that didn't build her self-esteem.
Yeah.
We both came into it damaged, broken. So she was broken.
Yeah.
So that plays a huge part, whether she wants to admit it or not. It plays a huge part in how I decide when to address her about certain things. Right? And a lot of times she's right. A lot of times it's not in the best moment because she's addressing me about a particular thing, and it's a trigger.
Right. Oh. And the reason why it's probably coming to you at that time is because when she brings something up, it reminds you of the thing that you didn't say before. So you're triggered in the moment, and it's like, oh crap, I forgot that. But now since we're talking about it, let's talk about it. Right?
Yes.
Okay. However, and I understand that, And it actually makes rational sense why it would happen that way.
Can I throw one more thing in there?
You sure can.
From the beginning, my wife has impressed upon me
Yes.
so many times that she's more like a guy when it comes to emotional and thinking and how she moves, right?
You had
So-
to say that to Danai.
Ah.
About how I'm not supposed to be masculine.
So after so many times of pounding that and beating that into me, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we can volley.
She's not. Don't listen to her. Yeah, don't
All I
listen to her.
meant
She's
was,
not.
I'm not that emotional,
Listen,
and I can
yes, you are.
compartmentalize.
No, you don't hear where he's going. He's saying when you tell a man that you are like a man, when you are in conflict, he will treat you like a man. You are not like a man, and you do not want that. And don't open that door and just back down and hush now. Like literally just backpedal and no, I'm not. Because in conflict, he will hurt your feelings. Bad. Men do not talk to the woman that they love like they talk to their boys. That's part of what I was trying to explain to you earlier when he was saying, I don't think she understands the things that I've given up in order to deal with her in the way that I do, and that I was not always this person. I said, I don't think she understands that. And you said, no, I understand it. And I went, no, you don't. And I say that because having been around you enough and watched you all's interaction and also counseled with you all, it's very apparent that you don't see it that way, and that you are unaware that the way that he treats you is not the way that he has ever treated any other woman. And he has said that, but I've also seen it. And I've also watched his restraint with you and watched how hard he was trying to restrain himself. And that is what love does. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes.
Yeah. You look
I'm
like you
waiting
got-
because I'm waiting for the part where you say you shouldn't deflect, Jeff. Just tell him.
Well, see, and that's what you do. So let's talk about deflection as a subject, right? So deflection is basically when one person brings something up to you and you cannot handle it, or you feel guilty, or you feel shame. And as a result, you're overwhelmed kind of in your emotions usually, and you shut down. And so instead of connecting with whatever it is that your partner is saying and being able to address that, process through it, and come up with solutions together as a team, you shut down. And what the shutdown does is it tells your partner that I am not available to problem solve with you. And if this goes on repeatedly or over time, it can create resentment and it can lead to a lack of trust, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that's core to making any great relationship work is both parties have to have a reasonable expectation that if I bring you my stuff, we're going to address it, we're going to move through it, and we're going to do it for a win-win. So both of us get to win, right? Mm-hmm. That's what keeps you talking. That's what keeps you, coming back to each other. So the other thing I will say, and I love saying this because it's so simple, but most people don't think about it. No one, not one person, enters into a romantic relationship to not have their emotional needs be met, to be neglected in that way.
Sure.
So both of you as a team have to understand your job, job, is to meet the emotional needs of the other person. And in order to do that, you guys have to know you guys are going to be lifetime students. So it's totally fine not to know something. It's totally fine, to make mishaps and missteps, etc. You guys are a part of a growing process. And as long as you work together, you can do anything.
So like even when we said the term deflecting, I say it's new. Right? I say in popular culture, it's a hot button topic. It's a word that you hear a lot now. You're right. Whether you want to say woman, man, nobody had the courage to say that to me. Whether they didn't know how to say it in that way or they didn't have an opportunity to say it. You have opportunity to talk to me, to express yourself, for me to listen, even when it doesn't go exactly the way you want it to go in every conversation. The thing is that I'm learning. This is really one of the first relationships where I even look at myself that there could be a deficiency. Never was I deficient in anything.
Yes, you were. You just weren't open.
And nobody ever told me.
Because you weren't safe.
I thought you just because you weren't open to listen.
No.
Dang it! I thought you might have been on my side for a second.
Well, that's what that means, though. You didn't ask what safe means.
Okay, what does safe mean?
Safe means that you can bring me something and have a reasonable expectation that I will listen, I will hear it, I will take it in, I will consider it. And if there is an issue, I will then offer some sort of solution and resolve, which means I'm actually acknowledging whatever it is that you're telling me. There are a lot of men who are the way that he said that he was before, who are not open, don't want to hear anything bad about themselves, feel like if you give them any sort of feedback that does not agree with their own self-image, you are being disrespectful. That's when people twist that, because that's not disrespect, that's honesty, right? And again, both parties have to feel like they're winning. Nobody gets into a long-term relationship to feel like they're permanently losing. And permanently losing can mean you never listen to me. You know, so a safe space is one where I feel like, okay, I'm not walking on eggshells in my relationship. I can approach him.
I'm so glad you just said that, because that's I want to say half the battle. It's probably more than half the battle is mustering up enough courage to know what's about to happen. I'll be like, I already know he's going to say this, and this, because it usually happens.
I just want to say right there, and I know I'm cutting you off, but I just want to say you would do better if you didn't do that.
I'm sure I would, but because, no, I don't even want to hear it, because regardless.
I always say that. She comes to the party.
He frequently says that.
Listen, she comes to the party with a predetermined mindset. It says renew your mind. She doesn't come with a renewed mind. She
and it says in 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8, the love scriptures, love always believes the best. So you're not making a generous assumption of him when you go, I'm going to say this and this dude is going to go this, and I already know. And look at my body language. Look at my tone. Look at my eyes were rolling as I said it. All of that is heard and communicated, even non-verbally. Ooh, y'all want to know, for ladies, how you can not disrespect your husbands? Watch your nonverbal cues. Black women especially, we are big on rolling our eyes, putting our fingers in their faces, folding our hands, having some sort of attitude, and it's all in our body, and you can see all of it, and my tone too, and what I'm not going to do and what you're not going to do. And next thing you know, all of that is contributing negativity versus you asked me once, how can I respect him and how can I turn this around? And I told you, you can make loving requests of him. And making loving requests looks like, babe, I had this thought and I was wondering if we could have a conversation about it. What I'm doing just in that one sentence, first of all, I'm using a term of endearment. Secondly, I'm saying I had this thought and I wondered if we could talk about it. There's courtesy in that. There's not a demand on him. There's me acknowledging that it might not be a good time and that he might have something else to do. But if he's open, I would love to engage at this time, right? And then after that, you let him know that he has every right to want, think, feel, say, do whatever it is that he's doing that's bothering you, whatever it is. So you make him right for the wrong thing that he's doing. And I know that that sounds counterintuitive, but this is how you respect a healthy masculine man. He has every right to want that, think that, say that, feel that, do that. However, when he does that, you then, and this is where you get to assert yourself because it's not all about him, you then say, this is how it makes me feel. In you saying this is how it makes me feel, the magic of this is you're inviting him now into your heart. And a woman can only ever be deeply loved if she is willing to be vulnerable. In order to be vulnerable, you have to let him into your heart. Women like you and I who are independent and who are alphas and we're strong and we're bosses, we tend to speak to our men from our heads because it's just habit. We're not trying to, but we're not aware that when we speak to him from our head, as logical as that is, it reminds him of a man. It doesn't trigger him to go into his heart and then respond to us in the way that you are looking for him to respond to you.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for the responses and the answers and the things that are tools to be able to help us. But I need to express several things because this might be my only opportunity, guys. This might be my only opportunity to be able to have. I mean, unless we...
Even that.
Yes.
You're speaking to the end, and the end is not positive.
So I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I take a lot of time to teach this woman.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah.
And so when we're in the classroom and you get an assignment and you tell me you understand that assignment, but then you walk right out of class.
I know you don't got it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
That is a reflection of, man, I'm pouring into you. It's what you said you want. You said you want a guy to lead you. You want a guy to love on you. Let me teach you how to be my woman.
That's good.
I'm asking you to be the tender woman and win me that way. The masculine person that you show in business is not going to win me. It may win you contracts. It may win you business deals. It's not going to win me.
That's the part I really don't understand, that sentence. Because when I met you, that was part of the attraction, was seeing that. And we've
used for me, not against me.
Okay. So since I met her, she's been on the masculine, feminine. You got to understand your place and why and how it works and the reason why it will work. And I have not learned all of those pieces yet because, as we've talked about before, I have been independent for a very long time. So I do understand and I do want to learn that for sure. My concern, and I thank you for everything that you just said because I appreciate that. And I want to say a bunch of things that are in response to that. I'm just afraid that it will take us on a very long thing from here. And to circle, if I can, back to the idea of the way that we're speaking right now is an understanding. There's a level of, let me express how I feel to you about what, or more of what I think and how I feel. It's both of those that I'm hearing,
open
right?
Now.
Both.
You're very open
very
right
much.
now.
So, and we can dialogue where he's giving information that he's processed. You know, maybe you processed through it because you knew we were going to have this conversation, but when it comes to it, the heat of the moment
is not like
that. It is not like that because, and I don't hear all those pieces.
Let me tell you why. Because he's triggered and you're triggered. So what happens, and I love that you took us back here. Let's go back to a deflection. All right, what will happen is Melissa wants to bring something up because she's got something she wants to address. Melissa then rehearses everything that's going to happen, but that rehearsal is in a negative tone. That's where I interrupted you last time because I wanted you to consider making your rehearsal a positive one, meaning assume the absolute best about your husband and assume that the best is going to happen in this moment and in this conversation.
Pause, because I want to say what I'm really thinking right now, which is this. I agree with you and I want to do that also.
Okay.
If I only do that in my head, I'm not saying this is the answer, but I'm going to address it. Yeah. In my head, if I do that, then I'm not prepared for the worst if it happens. And that's what I don't want to do.
So what is the worst?
The worst is when I try
what
to...
is the worst?
The worst is when I try to break. So what I was starting to say was I build my case. I have all my pieces together. I'm like, okay, let me say it in a loving way. Let me speak to him about these areas because really I want to share this with him because I feel like it will help us grow. I feel like there's certain areas. Honestly, when I bring things to the table, it's because I feel like I am his wife and his partner. There are things that I see that I'm privileged to see that he does not let anyone else see or that other people have not been able to see. And so if the Lord allows me to be with you every day and see these things, then I kind of feel like outside of God himself, I am kind of the best tool to be able to help sharpen you, right?
That's true. You are.
Right.
You'll help me. The rib.
I'm speaking to you right now and I want you to hear me. You do have access to me. There's proximity. You have access to me. You can see me the way I can't see myself, right? Correct. What I'm saying to you is, I came to you broken. I'm in repair. I'm in the midst of being repaired in front of the person that I love the most.
I get that.
No, I need you to understand. You get it, but I need you to understand that every day I have to be a man. Every day. In the house, out the house, right? I have a little grace in the house. But when I'm in the streets, when I'm out in the field, I have to be a man. and I've been playing defense most of my life, right? God has given me the ability to get on the offense by being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
As a black man where I'm from, I always am on defense. I don't want to be. God is helping me to come from under that, but it's a defensive stance. I do not want to play defense at home, right? And I have cut women for way less than what we've been through. So I am here, I am present, and I am working.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm saying to you that you may be right, but some of the presentation, I'm gonna say this. We eat a lot of different food. And you gave me an example the other day. You said, this food is delicious, but if I just looked at the presentation, I would have not eaten it. Right? The advice, the love, the instruction, the teaching, all those things, they're good. But the way you're presenting it to me, I'm not able to receive it. Right? And so when I'm not a regular guy. I'm from the jungle. I'm not in the zoo. I gotta go kill it every day. Ain't nobody bringing me no health care. Ain't nobody bringing me no medicine. Nothing. I get it every day since I was a young boy. So for me to lay down and say, I'm going to let you in, and it's going to take some time. Vulnerability, I'm learning that. I ain't been vulnerable to nobody. I stand on my feet. I'm a man. So when it's like, oh, love on me, I'm working, I'm learning. When you come at me, even when you don't think you're coming at me, you come at me sometimes, and it's only the grace of God that allows me to say, this is a moment, I'm not handling it right. I just need to listen to you, but I can't say nothing. Because if I say something, my nature will say something that could set us back and put us in a place where we're not able to recover. So what I'm asking you to do is to say what you said to me. I believe this guy really loves me, genuinely loves me. It may not be 100 right now, but he is becoming every day. Some days, like I told you the other day, I said, the only way you can fall is when you're already standing up. You can't fall if you're down, because you're already down. So if we take a little dip, that means we up. Recognize that we up. Recognize that I'm with you. I recognize that you're with me, even when it don't feel good. Even when, I'm not taking nothing away from deflection. Trust me. I see what it does to you, so I honor that, right? But how I grew up, the little things that we really talking about when it comes to deflection, to me is small, but to you is big. So I'm willing to sit on a podcast and have a conversation about it.
Thank you for that, babe.
I'm willing to do that. I don't get on camera for nobody. I've owned production studios. I produced music videos, TV shows, film. Nobody got me on camera. I genuinely care about you, so I'm on camera, talking about my life.
Thanks for that, babe.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that mine weigh more than yours, and yours weigh more than mine. But I do want you to understand that I put a lot of work in when that body language get a little weird and that tone get a little weird.
And I'm open. I appreciate,
okay.
Honestly, the fact that you're even talking right now. Thank you for that. Because it's most of the time it's pulling like Danai always says, don't ask him what he thinks. Don't ask him what he feels. Ask what he thinks, right? I'm always trying to figure out what do you think? I'm always asking you, okay, what's wrong? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's wrong? Because if you can clarify these things, and I know you always tell me I'm not, I'm really big on effective communication, and you're learning it. So your words are placed a little different. You have to process through things. My words are important. I don't waste my words, right? And I do not like receiving negative. So part of the challenge is when I'm teaching you how to be positive. I'm teaching you how to become aware of your words, how to become aware of your mindset. I have to boost myself to be in the world. I'm building a multi-million-dollar business for me, for you, for our kids. We the ones that's going to do it out of our family. Ain't nobody else going to do it. We in the jungle every day. So
when it's me and you having a conversation, you get to see the intimate side of me. You get to see when my back was hurt, what did I do?
Smile.
Did I lay down?
No, barely.
Right. I had to work through it, right? When something bothers me, what do? I immediately put on the positive. I immediately go to the verbalization. I immediately go to visualization. I immediately attack it.
But
I put the energy into it.
He was raised like this, and his mom, you'll meet her soon. His mom is just like that, always positive, always correcting words, like to the point where I'm envious of it. I'm like, I wish I could do that. I was literally raised the complete opposite. It's immediate negativity and fear, like
okay, that
all the
explains
bad. Okay, and he knows. He knows. He just had to meet him. He met the family.
I can't enter in some conversations,
right?
Because my vibration and my frequency is up here.
Yeah,
I'm not going to allow myself to be brought
We're
down.
not going back. We're not going back.
So okay, so I'm happy to learn and sincerely to learn how to what's the word I'm looking for? Present it to him in a way that he can consume it, right? So he can digest it. I do want to ask, and I want to see as well, because I don't want to negate anything that he said, because I love everything that he said, and it helps me understand. But I also want to address things that are in my brain that's like, what about? Of course. Because if I don't, then I'll keep doing it.
One of the things, probably the biggest what about is, when I use the tools and I present the case, how do I get him to respond to me in such a way that...
Sometimes, it is sometimes. There most times we can't even get there. Okay. Most times, and this is what I want to find out, the
trigger because of the deflection?
Some of it, okay, let me tell you. We did this thing, we did it a while ago, and then we talked about it on the podcast too. It was, we had this frustrating, like, thing that just kept getting us to butt heads. It was for years. I don't even know if we've resolved it today, to this day. But every time we tried to talk about it, we couldn't get to resolving the conflict because we would conflict about resolving the conflict, right? So we wrote down, we said, okay, let's not meet this time about this issue. Let's meet about all the things that hinder us from resolving the issue. Right. So we wrote down what we called our blue book of bad habits, and it was all the bad habits that we had in trying to resolve conflict and effective communication. Yes. One of the things was deflection. Another thing was absolutes, right? So we said, this is what we do. This is why it's not helpful. This is how it hinders us. Let's agree not to do it. Okay. We agreed not to do it. Okay. And then we said we'd hold each other accountable just in case, because you got to learn through it. You can't just be like, we wrote it down, so you got to fix it. It's not right. So we're like, let's give us some time to adjust to this and to get it right. And so we would get into a conversation, and he'd be like, well, you always, and I'd be like, do I always or do I sometimes? Because that's an absolute. And always is 24 hours a day, every single day, 7 days a week. Do I always?
The way you did it was as a mommy. There's not only is it the least sexy thing you can do to go into mommying tone with him, what helped me not to do it was when my teacher taught me, psychologically speaking, it is the job of every healthy, grown masculine man to move away from his mother. So if you are his mother, his job is going to be to move away from you. And since we want him to move closer to you, and we also want to increase and keep the heat, the passion, the sexual chemistry alive, mommying will literally make it go down. So when you think MOM, think MAN, because it's the same. Mom equals man. It's still masculine. What you can do instead is sometimes, every once in a while, because never go to war where there are no spoils. So always act with wisdom and discernment, and ask yourself, is it necessary for me to...
battles.
Yes. Is it necessary for me to... Because you just said to me, so now we're thinking logically. We can't even get to the argument because we're fighting on our way to the argument about how we're getting to the argument. So if you can recognize that, then in the moment when he's saying... always or never, if there is a bigger thing over here that you really want to address, make that the priority. What I'm basically saying is don't micromanage.
Okay, Danai.
Yeah.
I will consider for the future to not each time, and I'm not saying always because I will not use the absolute.
Thank you.
But to not always have to.
Yes.
Each time have to.
But if you have to, If you have to correct him, think of the way that you would want to be corrected. Literally, this is what helped me. No. I got it. But here's the thing. Shorten it. So first, think of how you would want to be corrected. The reason I'm saying that is because I want you to make it positive, and I want you to not make it like in your face.
What does that look like? Is it better for me to say, hey, babe, don't forget not to use absolutes? I used an endearing word, like you said.
And now let me tell you why. Scientifically, we speak twice as many words as they do. When women do not understand, we overwhelm them with our words already just because of the volume.
Okay, make it shorter.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
But the reason why you want to make it shorter also is because when you're saying something negative, you want it to be as small as possible.
That's fair. Got you.
Yes.
How do you think you would respond if I said to you, you're in an elevated state and you're kind of heightened a little bit and you're like, you always blah, blah, blah. And I say, hey, babe, don't forget not to use absolutes. How do you think you would respond? Seriously, honestly.
It depends on, honestly, how we got to that point.
Yeah.
Because
he could be like, that's not the point.
What do you think is the average way that you would have? I'm just asking you.
See, we have a different mindset. We live different. I always think that I'm going to do the best on the next one.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm not, if you ask me what I'm going to do next time, I'm going to be what you need me to be in that moment.
Okay. At this point, what I want to determine for deflection, for the purpose of deflection, and there's a lot of stuff that you said that was really affectionate and endearing and things that you shared with me that I want to address. We don't have a lot of time right this second. So
Which is why there's something I have to say. Okay. What's happening when we're dealing with like the original deflection, he gets triggered. So one of the things that is going to be mandatory for you guys is going to be an agreement. And I know that you wrote things down. What did you do with that paper?
It's a book, and we have it written down, all of those things and what we're not going to do.
Beautiful. What I want for you to do is take pieces of paper out, and literally, I will give you the 5 tools. I want them to be someplace where you can see them, okay? So that, because you are learning each other and you're learning these skills. But my point in what was the most important to say is you do have to keep your agreements. You do have to keep your agreements, both of you. So you have to decide if we've got new rules for how we're going to do with conflict, and if we've got specific rules for how we're going to do with deflection, we both agree to this, and then we do have to absolutely do that. When you are holding someone accountable, remember to hold them accountable in the way that you would want to, and then just do it as shortly as possible.
That was helpful. Yeah. And I'm thankful, very thankful that you said that last part, because I know we have to wrap. And I was literally going to say, we didn't get to this, but I can't wait to hear the next time we can talk about this and you allow us to address, or you can bring some enlightenment to the table on actually keeping our word and making sure that we're accepting responsibility. Yeah. Because that's the part that I'm just kind of a little bit thrown off of, because I'm thinking we're grown. We made decisions. We said we were going to do certain things together, and it's really for our benefit. Like, I want to clearly be able to hear what he is trying to share with me, just like he did today. And I could clearly hear him. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Got you. Thank you for saying that. Some of those things, this is the first time I've heard them. And I heard it clearly. Maybe because this is a safe space, and that's amazing.
And that's what I was going to go to. Always think about, okay, if there's this thing that I want from Jeff, if there's this reaction that I want from Jeff, if there's this final outcome that I want from Jeff, how would I have to show up that would give me the best possible chances of actually extracting that or producing that in him?
Okay. There's a level where for us where I think that deflection in general is very unhealthy.
Yes.
It takes away from the topic at hand. It hinders growth, in my opinion.
Of course.
And to me, marriage is a mirror. Marriage is a mirror. I am a reflection to him. So when I see him more than I see myself every single day, right? I don't look at myself in the mirror as much as I see his face. He shows me. Sometimes he'll be like, I don't think you realize you did that a few times today. And I'm like, oh, I did? Okay. So if I said, no, I didn't, that's not true, you do it all the time. Instead of reflecting me, I'm deflecting the topic away from me.
Here's one tool. So if he does that, let's say that you're like, babe, you just did da-da-da. And he's like, no, I'm not a da-da-da-da-da. You could just go, sweetheart, that's what I mean right now. In other words, notice what I did. I reached out. I used a term of endearment, and I lowered my voice. I'm saying he talked about the tray that you're presenting the food on. The food is really, really good, but it can't get to him because the presentation's not so good. So now I'm talking about presentation. I'm acknowledging the presentation. And I'm saying if he's going high and he's super defensive and it feels like a deflection, instead of meeting him high and going high where he is, go low, reach out, touch him somewhere that will feel good, but do it softly. Lower your voice and go, babe, right now. Right now, like this is it. This is what it looks like. Notice how few words I'm using, but also notice how I came down. And when you do that, it forces him. This is the beautiful part. This is the part about soft power. What it does is if you had gone up here, he would have seen you like a man and he'd have been like this, right? So he's braced. When you go down here, you trigger his brain to go, oh shoot, that's not a man, that's a woman. That's my wife. Oh wait, that's my sweetheart. Oh wait, what's she saying again now? Because you come down and you're using soft power instead of going high and using like hard power, which he's communicating to you doesn't work.
This is actually awesome advice. You're my husband. Do you, because I could take this advice and be like, that makes sense, let me go use it. Is that something, what you just said, is that gonna work for you?
That's what I said the other day. I said the other day, we need to have these conversations. Come to me in a intimate way and get me in that way, and then let's go into the conversation.
So he's saying yes to you, love bug.
Okay.
He's basically saying intimacy means use your feminine wows, go soft, go warm, go loving, go touching. And by the way, I will give that credit to a man. There is a man in my life who told me, when you are dealing with me and you're confronting me or correcting me or giving me feedback on something that is painful or negative or, you know what I mean, anything that I could perceive as being negative because it's a correction, I got to change something. It would help me, he said, because I can be very strong just like you. He said it would help me if you would touch me and just let me know, you know what I mean, that I'm okay. Because the other thing that happens when we're overwhelming a man's nervous system with our words and our actions and our energy is they hear through our nonverbals, because remember, men are action, women are verbal. So he's reading everything. So all your nonverbals is what he's using, and that's like 90% of communication, right? 10% is verbal, the rest is all nonverbal. So he's getting flooded with aggression or anger or sarcasm or whatever it is, right? So if you can soften all of that, then he gets flooded with warmth and affection. And instead of hearing, because this is where their brain goes, if we're in the other place, it goes, I did something wrong. I'm in trouble. I'm about to be confronted. And all of that, that's what's triggering fight or flight. And then you're getting deflection.
Yeah.
Versus signaling, I'm a safe place. I love you. You're not wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. And by the way, can we connect and just have this little conversation and then it'll be over and it's all good? Totally different feeling.
I appreciate you so much because I knew what I was getting to bring you on the show, which is you taking his side. But I'm never mad at that because it helps me to learn and I can receive that. And because you take the time to be able to show me and teach me, I'm thankful for you for still working with me on the positivity aspect because as you can see, I don't even catch it myself.
Yeah.
So, and we're years in and I am better. I'm gonna pat me on the back though. That's a little beautiful. Bit because I am better. I do catch myself with certain things. I've learned like.
You're becoming aware.
I'm becoming aware. So I can't even do the words right.
You're becoming aware.
I've replaced.
You have started to work on the fact that you are aware of a thing. Now you can start to correct it. So
yeah.
And to that end, I just want to say this because you're like, I knew you were going to say this or you were going to take a side when I got on. Here's what I want to say. And this is the final thing that I will say. When couples come to me as individuals and say, how can I get my needs met by my partner? They never like my answer. My answer is always meet their needs and then they will meet your needs. And that is the reason why
you do it this because I was the one with the deflection issue. Great. So the next time
the issue.
I'll let Jeff pose the issue and then you'll be on my side.
I will absolutely
You guys,
be on your
we got
side.
that on camera.
I will be on her side.
He's not liking my words.
So yes, if you want to get your needs met, meet your partner's needs. It's a win-win. It's a figure 8. It's an infinity signal. Yes, I meet your needs, you meet my needs. That's it.
He's so mad at my words. I've learned to replace some of them. Like, I don't say I'm struggling or I'm frustrated. I say this is a challenge, right?
That's
like,
beautiful.
because that's what I ask. Yeah, but I ask, he'll be like, Melissa, like, he catches my negative words, and I'm like, but what do I replace them with? We have to go through a school where you can literally, yes, positive positivity. Please show me, because I don't know. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. This is way longer than we probably normally go. But I'm so thankful. Thank you both for being here. We are going to continue to strengthen. These conversations are so important, because if you don't understand effective communication, if you don't understand yourself, and then if you don't clearly, effectively explain yourself to someone else, then you get into conflicts. And then there's all these horrible tools that could potentially be used that hinder positive communication, right? Yeah. So this is why it's really important. So let's keep strengthening it together. If you guys have any questions or any type of ideas that you might want to talk about, any topics, anything that you're concerned about, or that you want somebody like this crazy lady to be able to answer, let us know. Drop it in the comments. And she's like, hi, I'm crazy. Let us know, drop it in the comments, and we'll be able to address those. Thank you, guys.